The party lights were dazzling, the laughter endless, and champagne flowed like rivers of gold. Everyone was dressed in their best, business elites, celebrities, investors, but at the center of it all stood Isabella Grant, the young millionaire CEO known for her iron will and unmatched success. She was the kind of woman who made headlines not just for her wealth but for her flawless composure. Yet tonight, something was off. Beneath her perfect smile and diamond dress, Isabella felt her world spinning. She hadn't eaten in 2 days, hadn't slept properly in a week. The pressure of closing a billion-dollar merger, hosting the company's gala, and proving her strength in a male-dominated industry had finally caught up to her. As the lights blurred, her champagne glass slipped from her hand. The last thing she remembered was the sound of people gasping before everything went black. When Isabella opened her eyes, she wasn't surrounded by silk curtains or luxury chandeliers. Instead, the air smelled of motor oil, and the faint sound of tools clinking echoed around her. The ceiling was rough metal, and her head rested on something soft, but not silk, more like an old blanket. She blinked, disoriented. "Daddy, she's awake." The small, excited voice made Isabella turn her head. Beside her stood a little girl, maybe 7, with messy brown hair, big curious eyes, and grease on her cheek. She smiled shyly, clutching a small teddy bear. "Where am I?" Isabella's voice cracked. "You're in our garage," the girl said proudly. "Daddy found you outside. You fainted near the road." Before Isabella could process anything, a tall man appeared from behind an old car, wiping his hands on a rag. His face was rugged, his clothes covered in grease. But his eyes, calm and sincere, met hers with genuine concern. "I'm Jake," he said softly. "You passed out near the old road last night. It was raining hard, and your car door was open. I didn't want to leave you there." Isabella tried to sit up, but dizziness hit her like a wave. Jake gently steadied her. His hands were rough but careful, as if he was holding something fragile. "You should rest," he said. "You've got a nasty bruise on your head." "I called a doctor friend, he said it's just exhaustion." She blinked again, trying to recall. "The party, I was at a party." Jake nodded. "Yeah, I saw the news. Some big event at the Grand Hyatt. Guessing you're someone important." The little girl, still holding her teddy bear, looked up at Isabella. "Are you a princess?" Isabella almost laughed but couldn't find her voice. "No, sweetheart, just someone who forgot how to rest." Hours passed. Jake's daughter, Lily, insisted on sitting beside Isabella, bringing her warm tea and half-burnt toast. Despite the simplicity, it felt oddly comforting. For the first time in years, Isabella wasn't surrounded by assistants or bodyguards, just the gentle hum of a small garage and a man who fixed cars for a living. "Why'd you help me?" she asked quietly later that afternoon. Jake shrugged. "Because you needed help. Doesn't matter who you are." Those words hit her harder than she expected. In her world, kindness was currency, always given with conditions. But here, it was real. Over the next 2 days, Isabella recovered slowly. Jake refused any payment. "You don't owe me anything," he said firmly when she offered money. Lily would giggle and show Isabella her drawings, a stick figure family, a dog, and a small house with smoke coming from the chimney. "That's our home," Lily said proudly. "It leaks when it rains, but Daddy says it's the best roof in the world." Isabella smiled, feeling something inside her stir, something she hadn't felt in a long time. By the 3rd day, Isabella's driver arrived to pick her up. The black car looked absurdly out of place in front of the dusty garage. Jake came out, wiping his hands again. "Take care of yourself, Ms. Grant." She hesitated, staring at him. "Jake, thank you, really." He smiled faintly. "You don't have to thank me. Just don't forget what rest feels like." Lily ran up, holding something in her small hand. "Here, you can keep my teddy bear, so you don't feel lonely." Isabella felt her throat tighten. No one had given her something without expecting anything back in years. "I'll take good care of him," she whispered, hugging Lily gently. Days turned into weeks. Isabella returned to her empire, her meetings, her boardrooms, but something inside her had changed. She found herself thinking about the small garage, the laughter of a little girl, and the quiet honesty in Jake's eyes. She started leaving work earlier, taking time to breathe, even volunteering anonymously to fund local workshops for small businesses, especially auto shops. One evening, she asked her assistant to drive somewhere different. "To this address," she said, handing over a small folded paper. When they arrived, the garage was just as she remembered, but now, it had a brand new sign, "Lily's Garage, Fixing Hearts and Engines." Jake was stunned when he saw her step out of the car. "You again," he said, smiling in disbelief. "I had a feeling your roof still leaks," she replied playfully. "Consider this a small investment." He looked at her, speechless. "You didn't have to. I wanted to," she said, her voice soft. "You reminded me what it means to be human. Let me return the favor." Lily came running out, squealing, "Princess," and hugged Isabella's legs. For the first time in years, Isabella laughed freely, no cameras, no contracts, no expectations. Just warmth. Weeks later, Isabella visited often. She'd sit on an old chair, sipping coffee while Jake worked. Lily would chatter non-stop about her school. One rainy night, as thunder rumbled outside, Jake looked up from his work. "You know," he said, "you don't seem like the woman I saw on the news." That woman looked untouchable, cold. Isabella smiled faintly. Maybe she needed to faint to remember she was human. Jake chuckled. "Guess even CEOs need saving sometimes." She looked at him, her eyes glistening. "Sometimes, they do." Months passed. What started as gratitude turned into friendship, and then something deeper, unspoken but undeniable. Isabella found herself bringing little gifts for Lily, cooking dinner with Jake in his tiny kitchen, and laughing more than she had in years. One evening, as they sat watching the sunset over the quiet street, Lily fell asleep between them, her head on Isabella's lap. Jake looked at her, his voice barely above a whisper. "You could have gone back to your world and never looked back. Why'd you come back here?" She smiled softly. "Because this is the first place where I didn't have to be someone else. Where I could just be." He reached out, gently brushing a strand of hair from her face. "You belong here more than you think." Tears welled in her eyes, not from sadness, but from the strange peace she finally felt. A year later, newspapers would talk about a mysterious partnership between one of the richest CEOs in the city and a small-town mechanic. But for Isabella, it wasn't business, it was family. Her company thrived under her newfound leadership, more compassionate, more grounded. She often said, "A company runs on people, not profits." And those who knew her story understood why. In a world of luxury, she had found true richness in the hum of an old garage, a child's laughter, and the heart of a man who asked for nothing in return. Sometimes, life doesn't break you, it slows you down just enough to remind you what matters. And for Isabella Grant, fainting at a party wasn't her downfall. It was the moment her real life finally began.